Hey, everybody, boy, oh boy, it's your main man, Anthony Brogdon here at Strong Inspirations, where I give it to you straight, no chaser. I don't play with you, my friends, as you have noticed. I've been doing this almost 3 years now. It's almost for 500 videos, and I have some intelligent people on the channel, like the lady today. She got that DR in front of her name, and she don't hold them up neither. And she might not be able to hear me. When you address her, you address the DR. How about that? Because she has gone through them things where she has read a lot, she has written a lot, and has had to be critiqued when she put in that last paper for them to say, okay, we're going to give you that DR. That's how they do in that world. Smart people. She probably got all A's in grade school and stuff. I know she one of them types. Yeah, watch out. She gonna say some words that you're gonna have to look up. You're gonna say, well, what that word means? You're gonna have to look it up. We're gonna get there today, my friends. Because the sister special, she's got an organization that is really a part of helping people understand the importance of reading, and also those who have written works so that they can be exposed to the public and people like you and me, right? I think we're going to get there on that note. So check it out, my friends. You have noticed that Strong Inspirations, we coming at you from all the angles. We from a historical standpoint, from a wellness standpoint, good eating, good reading, good mind, good physicalness. Because I want to give you a broad view of this thing from a positive perspective, though. That's my angle, everybody. And so, did you see the video I did with the guy who who talks about healthy eating and the foods that the Africans brought to America? Watch that video. Did you see the one that I did with the guy who one day he was noticing that there was some black people going in a swimming pool with scuba gear, and my man said, "Shoot, what they doing over there?" And then he founded an organization called Diving with a Purpose, where black people dive for slave ships around the world and other things. Watch that video. Did you see the one where the lady talks about, well, black folks, they got here well before 1619. That is not the start of it, and it's not the start of slavery in America. They came even before that. But what happened was the people who brought them lost. Them brothers said, hey, yeah, shoot, we ain't going for that situation, and defeated them, and slavery ended under that rule. And there's so many more videos on the channel. I've had people make me cry when this one lady tells the story of how her grandfather was going back home after he had to flee in the middle of the night and was going to the funeral of his dad. And he never came home. He never got to the funeral. They can only assume what happened to that brother. And he did not run because he had a beautiful, loving wife at home with kids. They got to him. Watch that video. Now, on a personal note, you know that I'm an author also, but before I came an author, I was a filmmaker, let's say, in my own little way. And one of the movies that I've done is this one here, is titled Business in the Black, The Rise of Black Business in America. Took me 3 years to do this. And when I finished it on my own dime, I took it to over 40 cities across America. I was like Johnny Appleseed, spewing this knowledge around. And I got good results, good reviews. And so, as this is the DVD, which there's still a few left, it is streaming on Amazon. A lot of people liked it, and they told me, hey, man, we got to take it one step further. I did. Boom, shaka, laka. Here is the book that I wrote. I ain't playing with you, my friends. I'm going to let you know one way or the other that there were enslaved black folks who owned businesses and used the money to buy their freedom. I list them and so much more in this book. And my sister, she nods because she an author. She like this here kind of thing. And so get you a copy of this. How about this? A couple more things before I bring on. I'm so confident in this book that it comes with a money back guarantee. You see, when you read this book, you know everything in it. You send me an email, I'll send you your money back. No questions asked. All I ask you to do is to give it to somebody who don't know so much. How about that, my friends? And then every 10th book I sell, I donate one to a school because I got to get them kids to understand how slaves got an education and then went on to college. And I tell you that in this book. All right, so do that, my friends. One more housekeeping thing I want y'all to know, and I'm serious about this. I'm doing a movie based on the book. It's titled They Did It. It should be out October, November of this year. We are filming. So you can see it in some form or fashion, this book. The book is on Amazon. It's an ebook. It's, your hard copy, whatever. And then we're going to make it into a movie, but we just only featuring 12 of the folks in the book. So check that out. So everybody, that's my book. Everything that I do is on my website. It's businessintheblack.net, which is where you want to be when you're in business. You do not want to be in the red. That ain't good. And there is no white in business. How about that one? Now, you hear me use this term strong a lot. Strong is my favorite word. I wish my middle name was Strong. I've been saying strong for 20 years. Wow. I had somebody tell me, she says, when you brand yourself, come up with a word. Boom, it was strong. In my world, strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to the Strong Soul Sister on the channel today. Come on, beautiful lady. Introduce yourself. Let's get it on.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for having me. I am Dr. LaTracy, and I'm the proud, iconic, melanated creator at Black Authors Rock. We are a full-service coaching, consulting, publishing firm, as well as bookstore. And our specialty is printing, promotions, and publishing. So a lot of people say, okay, well, what do you do? We're a one-stop shop. So we take care of authors such as yourselves, and we represent because we know the representation matters. So that's who I am.
I love it. Okay, before we get into some more about that and some other angles I got prepared for you. Let's talk about you. Now, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
All right. Well, in the neighborhood did you grow up? Did you grow up in the Black side of town?
I did.
Okay. In Minneapolis.
In Minneapolis.
More so. What was the Black side of town of their name? What did it have a name to it? That kind of thing?
The North Side.
The North Side, that's it. Okay. And where was the North Side relation to the white side of town?
Right down the street.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. We were integrated for the most part. Oh. But where we were, are you familiar with Prince, right?
Yeah, sure.
Right down the street.
Oh.
Grew up with his nieces and nephews, the whole 9 yards. And so being in Minneapolis, we had the North Side, we had the South Side. It was integrated, but the integration on that side, we had white people that integrated with us.
Oh, okay. Well, let me ask you this then. Was there something about the North Side that made it less desirable as a location? You know how sometimes they put us in the bad side of town where the plants are or whatever, that made that, could you get that impression?
No.
Not really?
Actually, because on the North Side, we had Black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
We had the developments. We had the projects. We had the Black radio stations. We had the schools that were named after the Black legacies. And so it wasn't, I'm not going to say it wasn't the most prominent area. We had food stamps. We had the government cheese. We had WIC. We had,
sure.
All of those things. But That was the part of it. We didn't know that we were poor. I'll
Okay.
just say that much. Yeah.
Now, do you know of any other stories of racial strife in Minnesota? Did they have riots and things like that? Was it, you know, any of that
And
growing up?
more
You
so
heard of?
recently, but no, not when I was growing up.
Oh, is that right?
No, we didn't have those problems.
It did. So you don't know of they like you never heard of KKK coming through Minnesota or nothing like that.
Not growing up, no. The
What
first
what?
big thing that happened when I was growing up was Tysel Nelson was killed by the police.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did your parents tell you to not go on the south side for be home before dark or any of that kind of thing?
Oh, well, before the streetlights came on, most
Yeah,
definitely.
but that was just because they wanted you home anyway.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that
Because
wasn't
we
that
had to be
wasn't.
outside all the time.
Yeah, right, right. Let me go back a little bit further. Where's the South in your family?
Memphis, Tennessee,
Okay.
and Greenwood, Mississippi.
Oh, really? Have you been to Greenwood?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My aunt still lives there. Great aunt still live there.
Do you know why your parents moved to Minnesota or to
They
you
got
know?
work. They
Okay.
worked at the plant. Mm-hmm. My
Oh,
grandmother worked at the plant from my age 3 up until she passed away 22 years ago.
what plant was it? What was the big employer
I have no idea.
there? You don't know where she worked, what the plant was,
Mm.
like that. Two more things. Yeah, I took liberty to say, and I'm sure this is the case, how smart you were. What made you be this way? How did you know that I wanted to read and be proficient as you become?
I didn't want to, but I got tired of telling people that I could do it. I had to show them. Now, growing up, you mentioned that I may have had the best of grades. No, I graduated with a 2.7 GPA from high school. They told me that I wasn't even going to be able to graduate because I used to skip class all the time because I was the oldest. I had to take care of my siblings because my parents were unable to do so. So I was the blueprint and still is the blueprint and the trailblazer in my family. I was the first to go to college. I was the first one to leave home. I left the day after graduation. There was nothing that could tell me no. I always pushed my way through. I didn't let anything stop me. And even till today, the resilience is still there. So it wasn't necessarily the fact that I wanted to go to school, but I knew that that was a way out. I didn't want to necessarily continue to stay on Section 8 and continue to have food stamps and be in poverty, but I grew up in it. I grew up in a single family household because my stepfather used to be abusive. All of those things, they were evident, and yet it didn't stop me. So did I want to? No. I struggled academically. When I was in college, I brought my children to college with me in order for me to attain my education. So I've instilled that into my children, education, and not to give up. So it wasn't that it came easy. It was just my way out. I believe that everyone has a way out, a way of escape. You just have to choose which path you're going to take and walk in it.
Oh, okay, I love it. Oh, we on to something here. Now I'm gonna stay on this, and I'm gonna ask you to use your imagination because we're gonna go back into history just a tad. Let's say that you were enslaved, and what do you think they could have done to be successful? What? I mean, like you did. If just somehow give me something of that to say it, because one of the things that we know there were those who enslaved who rose to the top, just
Mm-hmm.
as you have under different conditions. What do you think that could have been like? What do how did I don't know how you answer this, but
To
if you
me,
were there, how would you
I think it's no different than today's time. Slavery is just different now. It comes with the same sort of restrictions. People try to keep you down, whether it is mentally, physically, or otherwise. So for me, if I was to be in that situation, I would become their ally. I would allow them to think that they are misusing me or mistreating me and use their resources to come up and bring others with me.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. And I'm sure that they had to do that too, because at some
Of
point
course.
they played the game and said, okay, I'm a,
Mhm.
maybe I'm not gonna tell on other black people. I ain't gonna go that far, but I'm gonna be listening and I'm gonna be obedient, maybe, or something
Of
like that?
course.
Is that a part of it, you think?
That yes. I'm going to smile in your face and I'm going to accommodate the circumstances. But just know you're not getting over on me. But that's how history is now. You know, you have an employer that may not like you, that may not appreciate your strong will, your tenacity, your gifts, your resources. And they're going to tolerate you because they have to have a token. So just reverse it. Do what you have to do to get to where you need to be.
Was there and I don't know, at 13, 14, and you can tell me what the answer is. Was there an age that you flipped the script? Did you, like, was there a night maybe that God's came down on you and said, boom, this is what I'm gonna do for you, and this is what I want you to do? Is there a single moment like that, maybe?
Most definitely. I was 19 years old. I was in a club and I wasn't supposed to be there. But I was always older because I always held up my reins with older people. So I was in the clubs. And back in my day, they had this program called DARE, the Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program, where the police would come into the schools and educate people, the students, about drugs and staying off them. Well, that night, the club was being raided. And the police officer that came in was the police officer from my DARE program. Right then, he walked up to me and he whispered in my ear and told me to get out of there. That was my moment of transformation.
Wow. And you said, I ain't coming back. I don't want this no more.
No. They used to kick me out of the club, used to have me sit in the DJ booth. Why are you sitting up here? You're a church girl. Why are you here? Why are you trying to dance? If you want to dance, dance up here. If you want to be here, then you stay over here because you're set apart, even though I wanted to be amongst everybody else. So it was pivotal for me not to stand with the crowd. I don't look like anyone. I don't carry myself like anyone. I am different and I am alone a lot. A
So
lot
they
of
can feel
times,
that in you.
most definitely, have always been that way. And I used to question why I was so different. Used to question while I was by myself, why I didn't have the support. People said you weren't Black enough, all of those different things. And then I started a Black organization. Well, you don't talk Black, you talk white. Okay, well, even though I may talk white, I know how to code switch. I
Yeah,
know how to
yeah.
handle myself.
Sure,
I know
sure.
how to make sure that they are the sponsors and utilize their resources to get to where we need to be. Now you can come with me if or not. It's up to you.
What is what's the dynamic when you have that attitude among those blacks who want to hold you back? Again, I'm gonna ask you to use your imagination. Let's say you enslaved, and some of them are saying you acting like you trying to get with Uncle Tom too much.
Well, I don't
You,
have to use my imagination because it happens every day. There are people who I have helped up the ladder who still say that. And yet they don't understand that game recognized game. I know who Uncle Tom is. I know who is trying to take what I have. And yet I'm going to use the resources that are around me so that we can all come up. And they may not like my approach, but I'm getting things done. I'm making a change. I'm making a difference. I'm making an impact. And I'm an influencer, but I'm an influencer for us.
you got to be strong-willed to fight through that.
Every day, every single day. I can tell you that having a business entitled Black Authors Rock already comes with a dart on my forehead. Being a woman that's in business, I'm already being attacked. There's many people that are intimidated. It's more than just a Black thing because there's Black people that are against me. I get it. I understand that and I embrace it. I would love to work with other Black people so that we can all come up together. That doesn't always work because the mindset is different. But I know that.
You know, that was one of the things that Harriet Tubman talked about. She said that there were people who didn't know they were enslaved. I couldn't even
Yes.
save them.
Yes. And it's still the same to this day. People don't understand that they're uneducated. They don't understand that they don't have the resources that they need. And yet there are resources that are out there that you may have to just show up in a room being the only one. And those resources can change the whole climate, the whole community that you're in. And I do it all the time.
What made you start the organization? How did it begin?
Because I didn't have the support of my own people. I realized that growing up, you know how they say what happens at home stays at home? That means that there's a whole lot of trauma and there's a whole lot of things that happen at home that we weren't discussing. I also realized that there was not a whole lot of support. I've written 46 books, and yet
Wow.
in those 46 books, I can say that I packaged up all my books and sent them to my mom. And my mom has not opened up those books. They're still in the envelopes in her china cabinet. But if I had have stopped, then I wouldn't be right here. If I had have stopped, then my 10-year-old wouldn't be a best-selling author. If I had have stopped, I wouldn't have my 20-year-old being an international author and speaker and actress. There are a lot of things that could have stopped me, but I won't allow it. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Oh, I'm gonna sit to myself. Oh, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna take this blow for the team, and yet it's not gonna stop me. That's what made me sit on the side of my bed back in 2017 and ask God, hey, what am I supposed to do? These people are not supporting, but we don't know how to support ourselves because we are not in the right mindset as people of color. We pull each other down because that's what we were taught to do. We were taught not to have the man in the household. We were taught not to grow. And we were taught
Okay,
not
let
to
me
be
stop you right there because
self-sufficient.
you on the sun there. Who taught us that? Where did that come from? What's your
That
impression?
came from slavery. That came from church. That came from just doing what we knew how to do over the years and not learning how to do things on our own and being unapologetic in it.
Okay, let me take that one at a time. What did slavery do? What did the white guy do to us, in your impression, that made us feel that way?
Okay, if you go back to slavery, if you were a darker complexion, you were out working. If you were a lighter complexion, you were in the house. No different than now. If you have a man, that man was beaten and separated. No different than now. The system will help you as a woman if you have multiple children and if you are single. But those same resources can be there for someone who is in a relationship. They just have to know how to use the system. But if that man is caught in that house, everybody's kicked out. They're not helping homelessness because if you're stuck and you're out and about and you're down, they get more grant funding. So the system is set up to have destruction and separation. That's how the system is set up. And either you can be mad at the system or you can find a way to work within your giftings to grow. Identify your gifts and your talent and work that and partner with someone else. If it's ministry, you look around churches. I'm licensed and ordained. I love God. And yet, in church, it's over 75% women. The pastor is normally a man.
That's right.
Look how it's systematically set up. Who's in the kitchen? Women.
That's
Who's
right.
in the choir? Women. The only role for the men are either ministers or deacons. And there's very few of those, even to this day.
Right. That's right.
Not because of a lack of knowledge, but it's the mindset. There are a lot of women out here. I want to be married. But are we really taught as women how to be single? How to love ourselves? How to have a man and respect that man?
Yeah.
Is that man taught how to love, respect, and honor that woman? No, we're not taught that. Systematically, we're not taught that. And that affects us in business, ministry, and life.
Yeah, that's right. Now going back again, because the show got a historical perspective to it in some respects. What black men stepped up back in those days, though I would assume. I know black women did that, but we were the lead in the civil rights marches in many respects. The black woman carried the path. Trust me, everybody. I'm not saying they wasn't there. No, that ain't what I'm saying. But I mean, a lot of them were the men, the Martin Luther Kings, and the women carried the mantle. They did the legwork, and then we were the showplace. Let's call it that. Am I correct in that regard? And maybe it's not as much now, would you say, or what's your thought?
My thought is there's a position and everyone has an opportunity to have that position. But if you look at it, have you ever seen a woman president? But a woman is a carrier. A woman is a nurturer. A woman multiplies whatever is given to her. But she's also put in a position where she has to stay. They allowed President Obama to be president. That was a point to prove. He could only do so much. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
And he knew what to do and what not to do to keep him from getting killed.
Yeah.
But we were mad as a people. Well, he didn't do so much for Black people. Really? He did more than most.
Yeah, always no question. Yeah, that's my guy there. I don't have nothing wrong. I take a bullet for Obama. Shoot. But yeah, go ahead.
So yes, and so a lot of people have their opinions on the place of a man and a place of a woman. But looking at history, we are all pro-Black. We're all Black love. We're all about history and business and things like that, which is great. And yet, if you look at how the world is set up, we're set up on top of the government. We have to depend on the government. And where are we going? We're doing the same things that we did back in slavery time. History is just repeating itself, just has a different face.
I'm jumping around because the thoughts come in my head, and I want to get them to you while I think about it. What does writing a book mean to you? What does books do for people?
Well, systematically, we were always taught if you want to hide something from somebody, put it in a book. But writing is healing. Writing is not only leaving a legacy, but it's also creating history. Many people, just like yourself, you wrote down 200 facts. With those facts, you can find those facts anywhere. And yet you compiled those facts, and then you created multiple streams of income from those facts. My hat goes off to you. But if you had not had done that, then where would those facts be? When everyone was talking about the Montgomery Brow a couple weeks ago, they didn't realize if it wasn't for a Black man, that chair wouldn't have even been invented.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yes.
So it is about what is written, because so many people are not going to repeat what the history is. You asked me before we got on the call about different histories, history and systematic items. Well, the reason why I can't answer those things is because I suffer with memory loss. And yet, I write everything down, but that's how I remember. If I don't write it down, then it's difficult to remember it. But if you think about it, Big Mama used to have that insurance paper. She used to have those bills and everything written on that one piece of paper. And all those papers used to go up underneath that mattress. That was written. That was knowledge. That was legacy. That was written and held. Many people don't even know who their aunt and uncle and cousins are, because everybody was auntie or TD or cousin, all of that. All of those things are written legacies. And because of that, if we don't write it down, then we're doomed to repeat it, because we're not sharing it with our children.
Yeah, I got you. So when you come up with a topic like the very first book you wrote is what, and how did you start to do it?
The first book that I wrote was Raising a Proverb 31 Woman. And the reason why I wrote that was because in church, they were always screaming about being the Proverb 31 woman, but they never spoke about the history behind the scripture and the fact that that parable was only one chapter.
Okay, let's tell us. I don't know. Excuse me for not knowing, but
No,
maybe
no, no,
I'm.
you
Yeah,
fine.
what's 31 parable? Yeah, what is
When they think about Proverbs 31, that's only one chapter out of a whole book. And so with that, we always think we have to have the job, we have to have the children, we have to maintain the business and all of those different things. But those are parables in the Bible. Those are written legacies that were left behind so that we can learn, put it into our own interpretation. Because the Bible has been rewritten over and over and over again by different people, different chapters, different books, different parts of the world. And with that, if it wasn't written, then how would we know? I
it? I
can't
got
say
you.
I can't say that you remember your memory verses or your bedtime stories when you were little. So we have to write those things down
Oh, I
so
got
that
you.
the children that are to come remember those things.
What was the book about? I mean, you just told us. Give us just a little insight into what that book was.
It
How
was
long did it take
31
you to
women.
write it? That kind of thing.
It took 6 months. We had 31 different women. It was an anthology because we believed that everyone has a story and it wasn't always the same. And people wanted to paint the pretty picture behind what a woman is and how a woman has her self-awareness and her self-discovery. And yet, I wanted the truth to come out. So my testimony isn't all roses and flowers. There were many a days where I was cussing. There were many a days where I was fighting. There were many a days where I was crying. And yet, if I don't tell my story, then how can the next woman feel like she can overcome what she's going through? Because she may feel like she's by herself.
I got you.
And so that's the importance of writing.
And so you came up with this idea to interview these women to write their story, or they wrote it themselves and y'all put
They
it
wrote it
together.
themselves.
Okay. Okay.
And then I eliminated the excuse of, oh, I can't afford it. I
Okay.
charged them $25 to be a part of this book project because I didn't want the excuses. So many of us, people of color, have no problem with saying, oh, I can't afford something. You can afford what you want to afford. If you want that steak, you're going to get that steak before you
Yeah,
get that
that's right.
McDonald's.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And so for me, I wanted to eliminate all excuses so that people would have an opportunity to say that they were published authors. And that's where the legacy behind Black Authors Rock was even founded. We wanted to make sure that we edified, equipped, and empowered writers to know that they can make multiple streams of income from their story.
I love it. I love it. So once you did that book, that was the start of your writing career and the start of the company. How did you come up with the company name?
Sitting on the side of my bed, and I was just in prayer because I didn't know what more I needed to do because I didn't have the support of Black authors. And then when I researched it, I found out that we were only 5% of the entire literary career. There are not, right now, we're at 6.37% out of 100. Now we're getting a whole lot more people that are saying, yeah, I'm a Black author, I'm doing it. In our community online, we have over 5,500 individuals, and we're still less than 7%. And so that's important to me because I have a baby that's on the spectrum. And you're a little bit more seasoned than I am. When we were growing up, we weren't called on the spectrum. We were called mentally retarded. My baby, she could speak to you and hold a whole conversation, but her comprehension level is different. So I had to give her something that she can relate to. She didn't want to read. I told her to write. She didn't want to do it. So I switched it, just like people have been switching the game up on us all these years. I said, well, what do you like? She said, I like crab legs. I said, okay, well, how much does it cost for crab legs? She was like, $32. I said, well, how many books do you need to sell to get your crab legs? She was like, 2. I said, all right, let's do it. She was like, that's it? I said, sell 2 books. So that taught her not only how to read, it taught her how to write, it taught her about math, it taught her about food and nutrition. So I was using this entire process for life skills and entrepreneurship. Those are things that she could never learn in a classroom.
I love it.
And that is why it's so important for us as Black people to write our stories, because I'm not the only mother that has a child that's having a difficult time to read. That these kids like brand new shoes and they like to travel. Give them something that they want. Make them work for it. They'll appreciate it more later.
I love it. The one thing that I remember about reading reading certain books is that it allowed my imagination to go away. You know how you can read a book and all of a sudden the book has just got you and you can't put it down, that kind of thing. I remember books like that. And a lot of times this happens to men, and I was one of them kind of guys, tough, big dude. For me to sit there and read, I gotta be by myself. I can't be watching the TV and doing boy stuff. I can't go out and play right now. I got to go read. But there were books that I've read that took my mind away, took me to places that I've never been and maybe wanted to go, or exposed to me to stuff. There's another angle in that type of writing.
Oh yeah. See, when we were growing up, it was atlases. It was atlases and almanacs. We didn't have MapQuest and Google and the GPS.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that was the way that we got around. So for me, we didn't travel when I was growing up. Like I told you, I didn't even know we were poor till I became an adult. But even with that, I would read books on different destinations. And that would make me more intrigued, and I would use my imagination to want to go to those places. I have a 20-year-old now, and she says, well, that's why I knew that I wanted to sing at Madison Square Garden and sing at Carnegie Hall and go to Scotland to perform and the Fringe Festival, because I read those books, because you put them in front of me.
I love it.
So, to even have a passport as a Black person that's young.
Yes.
I choose to put those experiences in front of my children so that they know this is not something that you have to wait for when you're an adult. You can go and explore now. You can go travel now. If there is an opportunity to get dual enrollment while you're in high school to go to college, do it. Take those same opportunities that you see the other kids doing. You want to travel, make it happen.
Yeah, I love it. The other thing that I've come to conclude is, like, just say I'm gonna put the analogy of playing basketball. Okay, you want to be a basketball player, you have to practice. Yes. Reading practices your mind to absorb what you read, for your eyes to be able to see it on paper, for you to be able to, and I want you to fill in the rest of the blocks, the square. Reading allows your mind to do what? Other than explore. You said
to be stimulated.
Yeah.
You have to be stimulated. If you're not stimulated, it's not going to push you to want to do more or to be more. You could be a basketball player, but if they give you a check and you don't know how to budget, or if you don't know what you need, then what?
Yeah.
You're not going to be successful.
So you've written 46 books.
Yes.
Wow. And you publish other people's work.
Yes.
And so in your books, I'm sure initially you were the self-publisher, correct?
I started a publishing company.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
a lot of people say, hey, I started my own company. I went and I purchased some ISBN numbers. Right. I have my LLC, that type of thing. But I became certified. I went and received my certification as an independent publisher. I paid the dues. I made sure that I was accredited from the Better Business Bureau in several states. I made sure that I was a part of chambers, national chambers as well as state chambers. I made sure that I had the credibility behind me so that I would be able to be successful for not only myself, but other authors. And so, yes, have I made some mistakes? I have. And that is one of the reasons why I can go back and teach the other authors, don't make this mistake.
Yeah.
So
what is there a particular brand of book that you like that you focus in on publishing? I mean, yeah, right. That's the question.
for me, I love nonfiction because I like to hear the truth about people's stories. I'm finding it to be a little bit difficult these days because people are writing using AI, and they're not even walking in their truth. I need to hear the real, raw, and unedited version of your story so that I can hear how we got over. I want to know what you went through so that I don't have to go through the same things. I don't have to bump my head. I want to be able to tell my son, okay, well, here's a Black man who made it, who is strong and who inspires other people. And these are some things that he has done in his life. Pick something and grow and make that bigger than what he's made it, because you're younger and you could take the torch and keep going. I love just hearing the truth behind people and people of color.
Just a couple more questions before we come to an end. Now, one of the things that, and I've said this to you before, and my word is strong. A lot of times, maybe Black people more than white people, we take that negative perspective in life. We want a book about somebody who had hardship, and you know what I'm saying, and then that catches our attention. Is there something that negativity catches our attention, or could there be a book about somebody who said, my parents were together, they were wealthy, they both lawyers and doctors, and I didn't really have no problems? Is that good reading too? Does that do something?
For the right person, it does. See, when you have an audience, and people will write books and not know who their audience is.
Right.
There are some Black people out there who have the two-parent households and who have the success, the Claire Huxtable, type of atmosphere. And that's great. My hat goes off to them. I didn't live that life.
Sure.
I learned how to flip food stamps. I learned how to make a whole barbecue meal from the government box with the wick and the meat in the can. I know how to be resilient and know how to create and be innovative with my meals. Sure. So those are the type of things for me that catch my attention. Now, would I like to have that happy-go-lucky book? Yeah, I would, because I believe that there's someone who's out there to read it, but that's just not for me.
Oh, okay. Because, like so many times, Black people who they do movies, all of them. I know we talk about that coming out of Detroit. The movie I'm doing is about rich Black people who lived in the 1800s. And the one I'm going to do after that is not no doom, gloom movie, for lack of a better way of putting it. Yeah. But so much of what we do is crime and violence and stuff like that. To me, there is something to be said of how Black people can't see a brighter future when all that we talk about is negativity. What's your position on that?
Well, I will tell you that currently I am in a mastermind with other successful Black business owners. And it took me even getting into the coaching program that started the whole process. I didn't know what it was like to be around other successful Black people. I didn't know that Black people can make 5, 6, 7, and 8 figures and still walk around with gym shoes on, t-shirts and jeans. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that you don't have to live in a certain house just because you make this amount of money. Sure. I didn't see that. And so I didn't see those things in a book. It took me to see those people face to face. And so I encourage individuals to be around other people, seek out your tribe, and grow. You don't have to stay there. Even though I grew up in poverty, like I mentioned, I didn't even know I was poor. And yet, once I realized I did something to change it. So you don't have to always be in survival mode.
Right.
No question. But the mentality of the poverty thinking brings us to the place of always looking for that negativity.
Yeah, that's right. So now, what the name of the company? What's your website? Are you looking for authors? How do they submit books to you?
Well,
What's that? How does this work?
well, you know, for so many years as Black people, we've all been told no. The only way within Black Authors Rock that we will tell you no is if your book is harmful to yourself or to others. That's it. So we have a hybrid vanity company where we will publish your book. You pay for those services to assist you in publishing. And then once you go through that process, we will market for you and promote your book for you as well. And you receive your royalties from that. So within Black Authors Rock, we're a little different because I tried to go the traditional route and they told me, no, my story wasn't juicy enough. So I believe that we've lived in enough rejection that we can set this up to force our own personal success. So within Black Authors Rock and us being a full service, if you've already written a book, you can join our membership program where we assist you with the marketing. If you haven't written a book, then you can go through the process and we will assist you with the publishing and promotions and your printing. And so we are accepting new projects, as well as every year we have a fundraiser and awards gala, which is going on right now. It is to be held November 11th in Huntsville, Alabama, where we are supporting children authors. And so this is our fundraiser, and our goal is to raise funds for 10 young authors, and it's entitled Sexy with a Pen After Dark. And so we are celebrating our, authors and culinary artists, visionary, visual and culinary, as well as performing artists at this event. And so I'm looking forward to it. It's our second annual event. And yeah, I just love giving back and giving honor where honor is due.
Okay. And so a couple more they keep coming up. What does a bestseller mean?
A bestseller, let me tell you, there are different ways to become a bestseller. The easiest way is to become a bestseller with Amazon. Amazon has an algorithm where if you purchase a certain amount of books during a certain amount of time in your
You mean if you
genre,
sell a certain amount.
if you sell,
Right. Okay.
then those books make you eligible to receive the bestseller badge. So, for example, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays are easier days right now to sell books. So if you sell your books between lunch hour, and if you look at from the East Coast to the West Coast, anytime between 10 and 2 in the afternoon, people are on lunch. And you have Black business, that's your genre, and you are putting your book out there, and they're purchasing the book for 99 cents. Mm-hmm. You have an abundance of people that are purchasing your book during that time, your book can become a bestseller. Or you can have your books under pre-sale, collect the money, and during the time of your launch, then you use that money at that present moment to purchase books. And then you become a bestseller. Now, for me, I'm a multi-bestseller internationally and nationally, but I'm not into titles. What are those titles really going to do for you? Prove to someone that you learn how to break the code? It doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. But I do have some authors that do want that title, and so we work with them to get that. The New York bestseller is a whole different gamut because with New York bestseller, you have to sell over 100,000 books.
In a short period of time or just over some period of time?
Over a short period of time during your launch.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So again, what is the website and how do people contact you to get involved?
Black Authors Rock on all social media. We have Black Authors Rock Bookstore, Black Authors Rock Community. We are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and www.blackauthorsrock.com. Or you can look for myself on any social media under Dr. LaTracy.
And so you go to the website, there's a form that you can fill out and say, this is, I got the book, I want to write the book,
yes.
I need you to help me print my book, things of that sort.
Yes.
And you go through the steps. Okay. Well, hey, that is phenomenal. And as my last question for sure, is there a question that I have not asked you, something that you want us to know?
Don't stop.
There you go.
Don't stop. Whatever it is, do not allow any excuse to stop you from walking in your dream. Because as a writer, we're not only writing our books, but we're also creating history. And so that's so important for the people that are coming behind us.
I got one more. You're going to like this.
All right.
Are you proud of yourself?
I didn't always have that badge of honor. I didn't think that I was good enough because I always put my validation in what people thought and what they saw. But currently, I am very proud of myself.
Did your mom, did she see it? Is she still alive?
She is still alive,
So
and
she
she
know
does.
what you're doing. She know what you're doing.
Yes. And I had to realize over the years, whether my mom and my dad purchased my books, which they haven't, which if they've shown up to any event, I have been on stages with thousands of people. My mom has been to one event. And I had to look at that and realize she can only love me to the capacity in which she knows how.
There you go. That's the answer right there.
Yep. And so I had to stop looking at that as a form of support.
Yes.
My mom and dad are not my ideal client. And so with that, that has just made me successful.
Yes.
If I haven't done anything else right, I've given birth to 3 beautiful children, and they are successful. Yes. And I leave the legacy, and I'm a light everywhere I go.
There you go. I love it. Everybody, this is what I do is strong inspirations. I told you, folks. I told you, man. Hey, let me tell you something. I don't know. Feel like she was gonna tear up on the stick because she was expressing herself, her inner feelings. And like when she was getting there, and then don't tell nobody. I told you, I was tearing up too. I was like, when I rubbed like this, that was kind of to hide that tear because I felt the passion in this sister. Somehow I found her on Twitter and Facebook and all that, and I said, "Hey, come on the show." And she said, "Cool." And y'all got something out of this. I know you did. So hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations. Hit the like button on this video because there is no love button. Because I know you loved it. I did. Don't tell nobody I almost teared. And tell somebody about us. Let this thing flow. Don't keep it to yourself. Let it grow, because I ain't doing nothing but my best to give you folk like her, to find people like her, to let her tell her story, and I just do what I can to ask, let's call it intelligent questions. Let's call it that, my friends. And everybody go to her website, buy all her books, sell her out. And if you're writing a book, contact her and let her use her expertise, her many years of experience and knowledge in the game to help you become as you may want to be. Get your message out there. Get to, and forget the bestseller thing. That's just something that they came up with. But that if you reach one person, you know that's one more than you did without doing it. And that, how about this one? I like this. And it gets you closer to heaven. You know what I'm saying? How about that one, everybody? So do that. Check her out. And check me out. Go to my website, businessintheblack.net. Thank you so very much for being on here. I really mean this. And from the bottom of my heart, I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. You have taken the mantle of being in that club one night, and that guy whispered in your ear, "We're gonna save you, sister. You the chosen one out of this situation, out of this family, out of whatever your predicament is. You the chosen one. We're gonna save you. Leave, and then go on and get your PhD and do books, and so that you can let other people hear stories. It's a beautiful thing. Keep doing that. I hope to meet you one day. Let's stay in contact, and so on and so forth. And everybody, with that, I'll say bye bye. We out. Peace.
Peace.